Okay.
And you're all set when you want.
We're good?
We're good. Sorry about that.
Okay, no problem. Hi, so I'm Alex Atallah, the CTO of OpenSea, which is a marketplace for the decentralized web. We started with CryptoKitties, making a marketplace where users could buy and sell directly to each other and not have to trust OpenSea itself. And on top of readjusting the marketplace to make it more flexible for different types of items, we recently added support for lots of other non-fungible and semi-fungible assets. And so this presentation is going to talk about the different kinds of assets that you can make on the decentralized web, what the differences between them, and how you should pick between them if you're creating your own. So like I just said, we started with non-fungible tokens, which the canonical example is CryptoKitties. But other examples include CryptoPunks, which came before it, My Crypto Heroes, which is a very large game in Japan, relatively speaking at least. And you can also see here Gods Unchained kitty statue, which recently launched and is very similar to Hearthstone. Each non-fungible token is like a trading card, similar to Magic the Gathering. So there are a couple thousand projects, over 3,000 now on OpenSea, which got about a little bit over $12 million in volume with over 14 million collectibles. So the NFT space is growing, and the way it works is, and every time a new game launches, it pools its users together with the users of other games similar to it. And what we do to facilitate that is we let game developers group their tokens and make them searchable. We make a really good buyer experience so buyers can discover new projects. And we let sellers really easily sell their items. And we allow users to bundle tokens together, bid, make English auctions that sell items to the highest bidder, and other types of liquidity and experiences. So and this graph here shows the number of non-fungible token smart contracts on OpenSea. So definitely is growing exponentially. And what we're seeing now is other types of smart contracts that also represent items for trading in game. Most activity is in gaming, and you can see kind of like a sample ranking of games on this slide. Decentraland is similar to, it's kind of like a Second Life VR experience where you can own land and build experiences on top of it. My Crypto Heroes, the game in Japan that I mentioned, lets you buy characters, upgrade them, and battle them in teams. CryptoKitties, similar to Neopets, the game you know and love. And Marble Cards lets you turn any website or any web page into a tradable token, and it gets pretty meta. You can marble cards themselves and more. So there's a problem with non-fungible tokens. Because each token has to be transferred individually, a non-fungible token can only be owned by one person at a time. Creating multi-item transfers, which is necessary if you want to bundle items, is very expensive in gas. So while it's free to create a bundle, buying a bundle, it incurs a gas cost to whoever is taking the order. And when you purchase a bundle, you basically have to tell Ethereum to execute a transfer call for every single item in the bundle. That means this adds up really quickly. If you do 30 items, 30 to 35 items, that usually hits the gas limit. When this slide was made, the gas limit was 8 million, now it's 10 million. So you can't really bundle more than 30 items together. But now we've got a new type of digital asset I'm going to talk about. semi-fungible tokens. And this solves the problem in a way. So backing up a little bit, a non-fungible token is a digital asset that one person can own at a time. They're individually unique and all distinguishable from each other. A semi-fungible asset is not individually unique from all others. In other words, it's like a non-fungible token with copies. So I can own, take brown chairs, green chairs, and blue chairs. I could own 4 brown chairs, 2 green chairs, and 2 blue chairs. And each chair is then semi-fungible because brown chairs are indistinguishable from each other. The brown and green chairs are distinguishable. They would be individual tokens. Hence this slide, 1 token, multiple units. So here's an example of someone selling a semi-fungible token on OpenSea, picking the total price and how many units they want to sell. The canonical standard ERC 1155 is sort of the first semi-fungible token standard on Ethereum and pioneers this concept. So each token can own, one address can own multiple copies of each token, point 2. But point 1, a side effect of this is that each token type can be also owned by multiple people. Multiple people can own brown shares. Multiple people could own a type of trading card. Not all trading cards are indistinguishable. So what is the standard? Who's creating it? It's a combined effort from multiple companies. We have Engine, which initially started it, Horizon Games, which is making Skyweaver, and the Sandbox by Animoca. We've got a bunch of implementations now, including one from 0x, one in the works from Open Zeppelin, and well over 20 games that are using the standard, including Crypto Voxels, which is another Second Life type virtual reality experience. So, and here are a couple examples that are on OpenSea. When we put together a marketplace for ERC 1155, there were a lot of new challenges to hurdle over. And here's an example of the Six Dragons marketplace on OpenSea. You can see that each one of these items is distinguishable, like each card is unique. And when you click into that card, you'll see multiple owners for that card, all listed in front of you. That's in contrast to something like Gods Unchained, where each card might have the same, or a bunch of cards in each list might have the same name and the same image. And that's because they are ERC 721. As an aside, there's actually another type of semi-fungible token, which kind of has been called a multi-fungible token. And that's where in the smart contract itself, and here's some Solidity code for you, there's a conditional for every token ID. It can either be non-fungible, meaning only one person can own it, or semi-fungible, this else statement down here, where there's a concept of a balance that you can have, multiple copies of it. This is really rare. I think you can only find in, I believe, Engine and 0x implementations. And we haven't seen that much adoption of it. Although Sandbox has also created its own contract where each token can be either 721 or 1155. So you can consider that a multi-fungible token too. Here comes another type of smart contract. So factory contracts are a concept started at OpenSea where you can deploy a contract and issue a lot of tokens for sale without actually minting those tokens to begin with. So how does this work? You set up your smart contract so that it can mint to another smart contract. There's a factory contract and there's a normal collectible, could be 1155 or 721. And anytime a buyer buys a token, they're buying it and minting it in one transaction. So a couple different companies have used this, Neon District, Ethereum Knights, and several others. And it allows you to create, it's kind of like Kickstarter, an instant customizable pre-sale that automatically generates a secondary marketplace. You can set your own fees for the primary sales, which is the first time an item gets sold, and the secondary sales, which are the peer-to-peer transfers of items. And you also get stats and market insights, the typical rankings that you get on OpenSea. These are an example of some of the marketplace tools. Formula One's game F1 Delta Time did their primary sales and initial auctions and sold their first car for 416 ETH back in June or July. And they also sell individual car parts. So F1 Delta Time is an example of a multi-fungible token now. It's both ERC 721 and 1155 and switchable between them. All of these different token standards are built on open protocols. And you can add metadata directly to your contract. Oops. Next time I advanced a couple slides, I'm not sure how to go back. Oh, here we go, sorry. Yeah, so each one of these token standards has a separate concept of metadata. So metadata can either be on-chain or off-chain. And if it's off-chain, there's a token URI concept where you can map JSON data to every single token. It applies to 721 as much as it applies to 1155, with just a few differences in the naming of the URI method. You get market data, including listing history for every token, and a shared revenue model where users and affiliates make money with you. So in question, space has come a long way. There are a lot of different reasons to adopt one standard versus the other. And feel free to ask me any questions or find me in Twitter or Telegram if you're considering building a new project and not sure which smart contract to work on. And that's it. Any questions?
Do you want to take some question here?
We'd love to.
Is there some question? No. So there is no question. Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.
Okay.
I would just want to make sure.
Do you have your presentation here? What's your name? Sorry.
Matthias. I will say it anyway. Let me share it with you.
Okay. So what email? Do you have your computer? Oh, you want to send it by mail? Okay. Okay. So try to send to this mail, please. I have some advice for you. We'll send it.